You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today's tip comes from Tom Pisello. Tom, the ROI guy Pisello, is an entrepreneur, speaker, and author of the book Evolved Selling: Optimizing Sales Enablement in the Age of Frugalnomics. He joined the MediaFly team as its chief evangelist in 2018 through the acquisition of the company he founded and led, Alineian. Here he is.
Buyers, they're relying on solution providers and you as a seller more than ever to inspire, inform, and guide key purchase decisions. According to Forrester, the number of interactions buyers have with solution providers, that's up 60% compared to just 3 years ago, from 17 to 27, and half of these are sales-led. This means more opportunities for you as a seller to shine and hopefully differentiate from the competition. So how do you make every one of those additional buyer interactions stand out and count? Well, delivering a show up and throw up can presentation or demonstrating every feature of your solution exhaustively, that's not going to cut it. In order to win the interaction game, you have to think less like a seller and more like a Netflix show producer. First, you got to grab attention right away. The average buyer, they've got an attention span that's less than that of a goldfish. Goldfish has a 9-second attention span. Your buyer, 8 seconds or less. So be sure to bring the energy and action right away. Perhaps skip the long round of introductions and agenda as a way to get things going, and cover that pre-meeting instead. And make sure that when you present, it's got visual appeal. It's animated, dynamic, and for everything you speak about, you have a visual to enhance the experience, as we remember way more of what we see and hear in combination versus just one or the other. Second, you got to tell a story. Shape the presentation to have a clear hero, your buyer, an identified villain, such as market conditions or constraints, a storytelling arc so that you have a reveal and you build tension before you solution and jump to the happily ever after examples, and that overall, your story has a higher good versus evil. Fighting the good fight, it's got to have a purpose. Third, you should tailor your conversations, presentations, and demos to the stakeholders in the virtual meeting or room. And there's a lot more of them to handle in every deal. Instead of a linear agenda and pitch, instead ask questions of these stakeholders to get to what these prospects care most about, and then pivot your discussion to just what the buyer wants to talk about. Work with the buyer to create their own adventure, not the one you planned on taking them on. And finally, don't present everything and rush to finish within the allotted time. Slow your roll. Make sure you leave something to be desired. End on a cliffhanger so there's a reason to meet again and keep the engagement going. And schedule that follow-up right then and there.
For links to connect with Tom and MediaFly, just click over to DailySales.Tips/1049, and then be sure to come back tomorrow for another great sales tip. Thanks for listening.